Hey there, everyone, and to all of you joining us for the first time, welcome. This is Remarkist. We're a community of folks who like to watch our favorite television shows together, films. Sometimes we even read books together virtually, but as if we were in the same room, gathered here around the same television. Tonight, we are watching RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6, Episode 2, RuPaul's Big Opening, Part 2. That is the episode we will be watching. Let's not start off on the wrong foot by watching the wrong episode. I've done it. The best of us have done it, so it's okay. But that's the episode we're watching, RuPaul's Big Opening Part 2. Those who arrive early can grab a seat on what we call the couch. This is the area up top where a bunch of us have little microphones next to our avatars. That means that we can chat during the episode as if we were creating a sort of social DVD-style commentary track. There are no rules to how much or how little we chat. We can chat whenever we feel the urge, same as if we were casually watching together in person. However, we do hit our quote-unquote sweet spot when we keep our remarks to what is happening in the episode. We try our best to squeeze those remarks into the air between dialogue so that we can still follow what's going on in the show. And when we have longer thoughts or want to have a conversation, we save those for after the show because we're going to stick around for about 45 minutes or so to chat about what we just saw. I will not be closing off the couch, so please feel free to join us up here during the watch. We don't bite. We always avoid spoilers. We keep the volume on our TVs low so that when we do speak, others can't hear our episode in the background. And when we aren't speaking, we keep our mics muted to reduce background noise. So some of these sessions are being recorded and archived on the Remarkist app eventually, but for the time being, they are being posted on the YouTube channel Remarkist Audio Recordings. If you don't feel comfortable being recorded or having your recorded remarks available to the public, then just don't come up onto the couch or don't speak. Okay, so if you haven't done this yet, take a second to get your episode queued up and paused on the 0-second mark. Everybody done that? I know I did it. All right. And without any further ado, if you've been here before, you know what we're doing next. If you're new, grab your remote or your laptop or your iPad, wherever you may be watching. Have that thumb or finger over the play button, but don't press it just yet because we're going to do that at the same time on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Last week I was mentioning that there was something about the way that Rue speaks that I couldn't really figure out what it was, but there was something very affected about it. And now I know what it is. It sounds like he's reading. It sounds like he's reading most of the time.
Something I learned in my research, because I researched all of them, is Kelly is from Oklahoma. She's the only queen to ever be on the show from Oklahoma, and her uncle is Mickey Mantle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she's a graduate of the University of Oklahoma as well.
Troglodytes. The camp is strong with this one.
Oh yeah, very.
I think that's what surprised me the most about it is that drag, of course, is campy, but I didn't expect like the actual production of the show to be campy as well, which I think is the brilliant part of it. So now I get why everyone loves it so much.
I love the hair. I love the dress. Everything.
I've definitely seen Bianca before. So
Strong start with Bianca.
I really love everything about this right now.
Yeah. I get like Mad Max vibes from that.
From Trinity's hair.
they're not interacting.
I love how catty they are.
Oh my god, not Claire's.
Oh my god.
Did somebody say camp? Because that's milk.
That is
Milk
that
is
does a
looking
body
camp.
good.
Straight in the face.
No.
This group is not nearly as like talkative and open and welcoming as the other group was.
Oh my god. So mean.
Oh my god, no.
Whoa. Courtney is
Beautiful.
yeah.
Freaking gorgeous.
I know.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Courtney came onto the season already like an icon, really well known in Australia, and had been on the first season of Australian Idol.
Oh, she looks really familiar.
I love her too.
Oh my gosh, I'm in love with her. Oh yes. So far, the wittiest, I think. The
Yeah,
sharpest.
Darian's
That-
definitely my favorite right now.
That's her.
that suit
I love
is
this too.
everything.
Now, does RuPaul have another name as well? Like they both have different. Like they have two names.
Now-
Does he have?
I can now. I just feel like I can't stop seeing the teleprompter.
Oh,
Oh my
So-
goodness.
Was it Tiffany? Did you ask if RuPaul went by different name?
yeah. Like so,
But-
they each have like different names. So like when like their drag queen persona is a different name than the other. So is it always RuPaul or is
It's always RuPaul. RuPaul, that's the name that he was born with and the name that he also uses in drag. Some drag queens do use their real names for their drag names as well, or some combination of it, depending on who they are, like, what they've decided to do. But for RuPaul, it's RuPaul.
okay?
Like last week, and I was talking about Kelly Mantle. That was the birth name. And of course, it was kept because the uncle is Mickey Mantle, but it also works both ways. So they
Bianca's got a real good smile. Probably my favorite smile.
Come on,
Well,
RuPaul.
April's smile from the last episode was also pretty high.
I already have a favorite from this group, and of course, it's the weirdest one. It's Milk. I just love the creativity and the fact that she looks like kind of, I don't know. She's so weird. I love her.
Oh, someone's definitely gonna lose an eyelash doing that.
At least one, probably multiple.
I feel like this challenge is a little bit easier than the one that the last group had to do, though.
The jumping into the foam, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's weird. I feel like it fits this group though, because the last one was so fun, and the last group I thought was a little fun. The personalities here fit the slumber party.
Trinity did a good job.
I mean, I feel like I'm already seeing the winner of this season.
That was a great hair flip.
Who is the winner of this season in your opinion, John?
Courtney. I mean, it seems obvious at this point.
I don't know. I feel like she'll get boring after a while.
Maybe.
I'm already a little bored with her.
Oh, I feel like Milk is a Tim Burton creation.
That is so accurate.
Yes.
Yes.
Darlene is also a pretty good contender.
Darian.
What is it?
Darien Lake.
Darien. So far, those two just seem like the most pro. The others felt like, well, Milk was doing some interesting things.
I'm still like
But
Courtney.
all the others felt a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait to see Milk out of drag. I'm so freaking curious. Oh, damn. Not what I expected.
Oh yeah, those look good. Oh, no, he did not just do an Irish accent. I gotta say, I already feel more attached to this second 7 than I did to the first.
See, I'm the opposite. I like the first group.
Really? This
I agree.
has
Yeah.
multiple queens that I'm like kind of invested in.
Same.
With the first one, I didn't really like. April is the only one that I'm mostly invested in.
I'm with you, Hunter. I'm with you.
Yeah, these guys are like quieter. They aren't as like, I don't know. They're just missing something.
I like the second group better. I'm Team John.
But is it mostly because Milk is in it?
Probably. Like I love this. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I like the second group better for the same reason, but not because of Milk, but because of Dorian, because I really like him.
Yeah, Dorian is kind of the only one I like from this group.
John, who are you taking a liking to so far of this group?
Me?
Mhm.
Dorian, Courtney. I kind of like Milk. And I'm sort of on the fence about Bianca Del Rio. I go back and forth.
I wish I looked like Courtney.
Like there's some times where I think that she's just a little too acty. I think the reason why I like both Dorian and Courtney is because they don't feel like they're acting. It's also a problem that I had with one of the other queens that did really well in the last episode that won the challenge, the last challenge. There was just something a little like performancy about it, that like about her personality, that I didn't really love.
Oh, Dela from the last.
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like a little acty performance, you know? Like with the dialogue, I guess is what I mean. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just an actor thing.
Yeah, I think I expect that from drag queens. So
I know I should
that's what I like.
should feel that way too. Like because I say it out loud, I'm like, well, that's kind of drag, I guess. Is the sort of overacting,
Right.
is,
Yeah.
you know? But I think just instinctively, the like just supernatural style just is something that I like more, because as an actor, that's sort of what we're trained to like more. But you know, that's more of a film acting thing, actually, because if I think back like 20 years when I was more heavily doing theater, I probably would have actually said the opposite. I would have said that like the bigger performance is more my style, because that's more a theatrical style.
See, if this weren't a drag competition, I would totally be with you. But because it is a drag, that I expect more over the top.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't know if it got missed, but when Bianca was first talking to Rue, she mentioned her Rolodex of hate, which I just love that term.
Yeah, no, I heard
it. I made note of it because I will use that in the future.
No, I agree. Yeah.
There is so much great material to use from this season. You haven't seen it yet.
I love his green shirt. That green shirt, I would totally wear that. It's so great.
Doesn't seem like Rue is taking Magnolia too seriously.
All of them.
Is it going to be like a float, a parade float? Like, that's a lot.
Freaky and creepy. There we go. That's a big part of why you're really into Milk.
Yes,
Okay,
correct. Absolutely.
Freaky and
correct.
creepy seems like on brand for you.
And I love
So
camp.
he's super attractive. I think Milk could do whatever Milk wants.
Yeah, no, Milk is beautiful. But also I kind of like Milk's personality so far out of drag than in drag. In drag, it's just like I don't really see a person there. Yeah, it's almost like at least what I just saw was almost like a marionette. I mean, it's certainly interesting, but a big part of this for me is I want to kind of get to know these people. So. Man, Bianca knows how to throw knows how to read and throw shade. I think Bianca is going to end up being the most the one that throws the most clever shade throughout this season. That's my guess.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Very quippy and on it real fast.
In the next episode, are they going to combine the two groups?
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yes.
was gonna say, if we remember from the last group, we had Gia Gunn, who was also a bit shady in her own right. So it's gonna be a real showdown shade.
Yeah, but you're talking about Gia?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gia there at the very end also showed that that Gia can get a little what's the word? Under pressure, she can kind of become a bit of a deer in the headlights with the like, absolutely.
I absolutely agree.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
See, for me, I think when they combine them is when I'll be able to tell which ones I like best, because like there are ones from this one that I like, but it's because it's the one I'm watching right now. So
Okay, I've never heard of moose knuckle before.
Oh my gosh, really?
Really? That's
I
a new
have. Holy cow.
I know that one.
I probably know that one because I grew up with a bunch of cowboys who
Yeah,
painted their jeans on. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that was like
Wow.
just blatant. Oh my God. Milk has a beard.
Milk is
Thank-
not anything.
Thank you, Milk, for being Milk. All right, Milk is going to be an important character this season.
This is my favorite part.
Wow. Beautiful.
So gorgeous, right?
I think I'm a little bit behind you guys because of the ad.
Hallelujah.
Oh,
So
also,
can I
before
ask?
forget,
So is this also part of the standard format that our last challenge is always a runway?
They always have a runway. Yeah, it's not like in this case. It's also like their maxi challenge because they had to construct the garment, but there's always a runway. They're given a theme.
This is kind of cool.
Yeah, this is
Trinity looks
I
great.
love this.
This
It's
is
amazing.
dope.
Like a disco ball.
Oh my
all
God,
over the
Bianca
body.
Del Rio looks freaking amazing.
Well, I mean, she is a costume designer.
yeah,
So.
that Broadway
Oh my
experience.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
working.
incredible.
I would love to wear that dress.
I was just gonna say really quick that I think it was Thursday, so yesterday, I downloaded an image and I took to Procreate really quick on my iPad and wrote all of the names of the queens, like to their respective queens. So once this episode ends tonight, I'll post that to Discord. That way you sort of have a guide as to which queen is which, so that we kind of know their faces for the next episode Wednesday.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh my God.
I'm not a fan of magnolias.
But did you see her milk the cow?
Yeah.
Did we all see her milk the cow?
I saw.
This is pretty. I kind of like this.
That looks great. That
See, and all of you thought it was going to be a disaster.
it looks awesome.
It looks like a lot of work, but it
It
might not
does
be
look.
favorite.
It does kind of look like a parade float.
But it's so pretty.
Yes, but it is very quinceañera. My niece just had one that's very accurate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I had one. So like I know the dress alone, like it's just tulle on top of tulle on top of tulle. So
I love
I
that.
love Tool.
Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Damn.
I heard of a milk mustache.
I can see the Xanadu.
I like the pants.
That's wild.
Me too. I would wear those pants.
Yeah, me too.
She's so freaking tall. Like, it's incredible.
The first one was so
Okay,
good.
so here's my guess is that I think that milk's going to be in the bottom, but I find it hard to buy that milk's going to go too interesting of a character. Like she as a reality contestant, you just don't get rid of somebody that interesting.
I agree with that 100%.
Trinity is kind of gone into my top 2 or top 3. I agree. The dress though is incredible.
Dorian's is kind of boring.
Yeah, no, I was talking about Bianca's, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, this is boring.
Looks like
Yeah.
a
Yeah, I
outfit.
expected more from her.
It's true. I mean, the outfit was so generic. So Milk and yeah, she's going home. Out.
Who do you think's going home?
She is. What's her name?
Magnolia?
Magnolia.
Okay.
Magnolia's going home.
Yeah, I was a few minutes off.
Yep, she's going home because she's back talking the judges. You
Ooh,
don't
this
do
is
that.
bad. Yeah.
That's just not okay.
Oh.
Dang.
What did I say?
I know. I was thinking about that when you said it the first time.
I think over
I'm not agreeing with the judges here. I love that
I
outfit.
love it too.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I like the entrance of the box though. It's just cool about it. Oh no. Look how tall she is next to her, right there, like a whole 2 feet.
Okay, I was wrong. Milk's not in the bottom.
I think maybe Dorian will be one of them and in the bottom.
If I was a judge, there wouldn't be a lip sync for your life because Magnolia would just get kicked just
I think
for
it's
sass back talk.
I think it's gonna be Magnolia, and I think that it's gonna be Magnolia and the parade float. God, that dress is incredible. Fancy section. Also, I'm not really crazy about the walk either.
Oh, me either.
I now have a little bit. I'm shifting perspectives here. I have a new perspective on Courtney. I'll talk about it after. All right, who's calling it? Those who haven't seen it, call it. I'm calling Magnolia is going home.
Yeah,
Same.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
because just the arguing.
Yeah, I either Magnolia or Darian. Unfortunately, they're it's
I think Dorian's going to be in the bottom, but I think Magnolia's going home.
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. The makeup though was just a little too much. That's awesome. I love it. Milk is there. But enough. 10 and a 6, that's a 16. Simple math. Simple math. How surprising. Yeah, she's lip syncing for her life. Oh, she's safe. All right.
You called it,
Okay.
Mandy.
yeah.
With the
You
bottom
called it,
two.
Andy. All right, come on. Let's see some good lip syncing here. Oh my God, that's awesome. Give me the firing squad.
Magnolia is staying because they need that personality.
Oh, you might be right about that. You might be right.
And
Longest
Rue
part.
said that he identified, with
Yeah,
being younger and doing that too.
let's see. Let's see. It's going to be all about this lip sync. That's
That's Magnolia doing.
Oh my.
Well, she clearly
Yeah.
doesn't know the words to the song. Didn't bother to learn it. Her
Oh,
ass.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
Magnolia doesn't even look like he's singing the song.
You can see someone did their homework.
Oh, Magnolia's not even singing the song.
That's kind of
It's such a
Oh, yeah,
classic
no,
song. How do you not know this if you're doing?
And they're given the song before so they can
Yeah.
study. So she clearly has thought too highly of herself, and I won't possibly be on the bottom, or she
Oh my-
just doesn't care.
You
Her
can
eyes
tell
look like
that
she's
Darian
terrified.
does this.
Darian is killing it.
Maybe
She's killing it.
they're just not good at lip syncing.
Oh no.
Oh no, Magnolia is horrendous. Horrendous. Oh my god, this is
And
great.
all the information, maybe they're just, not ready for that. But yeah. But clearly the other one is. Thinks you know that.
That was the worst lip sync for your life I have ever seen.
Like,
Ever.
they'll be like, whoops, oh well.
Of course.
If it hadn't been for that lip sync, oh,
Because that lip sync was just, was a disaster
it
for Magnolia.
was.
It was unforgivable.
Magnolia totally rolled her eyes like hugely at the end of that song.
Yes, she did. I caught that.
Yeah.
Like it was a pain for her to have to do that.
I mean, if
Ooh,
you watch closely when the song was about to start, I'm a little bit behind you guys, so I got to catch this a little bit, but she kind of like had her hands on her hips and she did like that little sigh, like with that looked like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here, like that sort of thing. So she was just, she fumbled
too
her own
much
bag. That's what I'm
That
saying.
attitude.
Fumbled her own
Well, there's actually a little bit else that happens in the episode of Untucked, which I'll talk about.
Oh, they're there.
my
Oh.
God.
They're coming
Yes.
up.
Yeah.
Seeing the second group walk into the room with the first group, I'm like, I love the first group so much.
Kimura.
I still like the second group a little bit more. I don't know why. But maybe it's just that now that I'm in the second episode, I'm a little bit more into the groove of the show than I was in the first episode. That, like first episodes of reality are really a lot of like, you're just sort of thrown into a group of people and you have to figure out who's who. And by the second episode, even though these are new people that we're meeting, I don't know, I feel like I'm a little more in the show. But I also, I can't explain it, but there's just some queens in the second episode that I just have a little bit more of a connection with.
See, I like Courtney. She's very pretty, but it doesn't seem like drag queen to me. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, it's not as costumey. It's just, I don't.
Yeah, I find her boring.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not a fan.
I think she'll go far. I don't think she'll win. I think for that reason.
I think she's very beautiful, but I don't think the personality's there.
But I think that we're going to see that, because one trope that I feel I've seen in a lot of competition shows like this is that there's usually like one performer early on who like stands out as being something really like a real pro, right? Like they feel like the fact that she's been on America or Australian Idol and just has this like, clearly professional life in this world. You can feel that. And a trope that I've seen a lot of is those characters tend to they tend to do really well very early on. Like they kind of stand out, and then they get really boring quickly. And then they have this like moment where they suddenly break out of that boring thing and do something like completely like wild and crazy. And it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I didn't know you had that in you. But ultimately they end up losing to a person. Ultimately they usually end up losing to somebody who is, kind of has been sort of built up over the season,
Like the
rather than,
underdog.
yeah, a little bit more of an underdog type character, like a character who has like natural talent, like a diamond in the rough, that like over the course of the season, that diamond in the rough becomes like a real perfectly polished diamond. And then that sort of pro diamond, that real professional competitor ends up looking way more boring in comparison. But Courtney's already, I guess, seems a little boring to all of you. I think that she just comes across as just super pro. I don't know. I get that the camp is part of the fun, but like for me, I'm like, I just like that really like well-defined, really skilled. Like it bothers me a little bit that like Bianca's outfit looks incredible because of course she's a pro at that. She's a costume designer, but that her makeup looked like weird.
See, I think that
when Bianca's got the creativity and the natural talent to win,
right?
And you can just, like they said, just blend some makeup. You can teach that. You can't teach someone else to be creative.
Yeah.
Like the
Right, exactly. It's true. That's why I think that ultimately Courtney won't win. But it is a common trope that at some point in the season, Courtney will do something surprising in her. I mean, I don't know if that will happen, but I'm just saying that like that's the trope that I've seen before with these sort of boring type professional competitors that are like really good because they come from a real professional world outside of it, and then you find out that they're kind of actually a little boring. A trope is that at some point in the season they also surprise you with like doing something incredibly creative and different and outside the box, but it's usually just for one episode and then they're back to their old boring game.
I hope you're right, because right now I'm really bored with Courtney, and I think what's making me hold back from liking her right now is that I feel like drag is usually like a caricature of a woman personality, and she could almost just pass as a woman, you know what I mean? So there isn't that over the top campy thing.
I know, but as we saw in Paris is Burning, that realness is one of the one of the traits. It's a style, and it's definitely a category. It was a category in Paris is Burning that is sort of highly looked up to.
Yeah,
there was also
I
a little bit
agree,
of jealousy.
but this is a drag competition. You know what I mean? So I feel like we don't have those categories here. So I feel like I would want that more. But I'm saying that's what's keeping me from liking her more. I think she will get far, but that's why I'm not drawn to her.
Yeah, I get that. You could see though that there was jealousy. Like you could see from some of the other queens that when she came in, they were kind of like, she looks good. She looks real. It was like,
Yeah, the reason that I don't love her is because I feel like she came in already having some sort of fame, and she thinks that's going to carry her through the competition. I don't feel like she would be one that would do what it takes to win. I feel like she's just resting on her previous fame, and that's all she thinks she needs.
Yeah.
I see that.
Followers, but she doesn't have the creativity to win the drag queen contest itself.
Right. I'm hoping that that changes because, like, even with her outfit, it was like, this is it. You could totally have done more, and but she was just like, I got the body, I'm showing it, and that's it. So I hope that she does step it up later.
And Chloe did point that out too, like right away. Like that outfit was giving nothing, and she relied on her body to carry her through. So yeah.
Well,
I can see.
By the way, I will say though, they didn't give that costume a 0, which would be a nothing. They did give that costume a 6, which is above average, a little above average. But they marked that they gave that costume higher marks than I actually expected based on the way that they talked about it.
Yeah,
Bianca's costume, because Bianca's body also is very nice, but that costume wasn't completely reliant on just the body. It was a good costume. It was a good outfit.
I'm curious, Elle, what's your take on Bianca's makeup?
I love Bianca's makeup.
I knew it.
No, in this episode.
Yeah, well, it's Bianca's style, but I mean, she still needed to like refine it, especially for television, because a lot of these drag queens are used to makeup for a poorly lit bar,
stage,
you know, for a stage. They're not necessarily painting for TV. And that's kind of usually like something that Michelle will point out as one of the judges, is like, you have to consider now, you know, that you are in this completely differently lit situation, and your makeup needs to reflect like for TV instead of a stage. And I guess we'll just see if Bianca takes the advice in future episodes.
And you guys were talking about Courtney relying on her body. What I've learned from binging 2 previous seasons is at some point, if she continues to do that, that will be pointed out to her, and she will be told, do not rely on your body.
Right. And that's usually the point. That's usually the point where it's sort of do or die for contestants like that, where either the next episode or in the next 2 episodes, they do something super surprising and totally make the judges happy, or they just can't, and then they're gone within like an episode or 2.
Yeah.
So based on our conversation right now, are we putting like Bianca and Courtney in the top 2? Because we've been talking about the 2 of them so much.
I think that it's like, I think that it's probably a little too early to tell. I'm probably with you that she's boring enough that she could actually falter. I think that Darian actually feels like an exciting underdog that could potentially win the season, because she's sort of coming in a bit timid. She was made fun of in the episode. Like, she had some like hard reading thrown her way that that she kind of got a little thrown off balance. So she's almost from the get-go being shown as a bit of the underdog. But even though her outfit was just not interesting at all, I thought her lip sync was pretty good.
Darian's also coming in as a fan vote. So that's how Darian got on the show, was back for the first couple of seasons as like a social media push. They had a thing on Facebook where you could vote every day for like a queen that you wanted to be on the show. And Darian is the one who was chosen for season 6 and also the last queen. So that kind of, I think, has influenced Darian a little bit.
I was chosen by the fans. I wasn't really chosen by the show, and because of it, I'm not I might be a little bit of an imposter, like having a little bit of an imposter feeling.
A little different. And well, it's interesting too, is this was kind of brought up, I think, in the last episode. We talked a little bit because the queen that won the fan vote in season 5 was Adore. And Adore, as we know, we saw in the last episode was in season 6. And Adore technically also won the fan vote for season 6 over Darian, but was kind of already given a spot based off of winning the previous year. But then sort of like a little history. Adore had only been doing drag for a year and a half when she won the fan vote. And so it was a kind of a mix between production thinking she wasn't really experienced enough, and also her not having like enough money to put together a wardrobe to bring with her. So they basically set her aside and put her on season 6. So Darian won the fan vote, but only by a technicality because Adore was already cast. So I think that could have affected Darian's maybe confidence a little bit at the beginning.
Completely. I mean, completely. But that's more reason why now I'm rooting for Darian. Like because now I'm like I want to see a rise. You know, I want to see the rise. You know, like I'm all about, you know, the rise of the Phoenix. I love it. Just quick show of mics. Who else other than me is watching this fresh? Does not know what's going to happen. Thanks. Wow. Okay, so Jen, you've seen it.
I've seen it like just now with you guys.
I was asking show of hands who has seen this season and who has not seen this season. So you've also not seen the season.
No, when I watched that other one with y'all, that was the first one, and then this is the second.
This one. You know, what I'm trying to get is like as we move forward, like how many others, like how many of us are going to be like making guesses on stuff, and we really truly don't know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, everything is a guess, and I'm real good at not actually Googling any characters while I'm watching a show because I don't want the spoilers. So
okay, good.
It's all just me guessing, but a lot of this stuff seems pretty predictable. You know how some of them reality shows are.
Yeah.
Do the recap and everything.
So then it's Regina and Elle are really they're just our guides, are the only two that have seen this, that are on the couch right now.
Hasn't Elle seen this?
It looks like
Elle and Regina.
Mm-hmm.
Elle and Regina are two hosts and co-hosts. Jen, you said it's predictable. So what do you predict?
Well, when they do the recap, it just sometimes they'll talk about like they're going to get catty, like we're going to merge these two groups together. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, let's figure out. You got the best of two groups, and then it's probably going to be last down to those top 4. And then we're probably going to see them lip sync at the end. I don't know. I imagine the American Idol winner guy from last one. Winner girl. God, I keep saying I don't know, guy, girl. But it's the first episode where they say, weren't you in American Idol? And she said, yeah, that crazy haircut. I have a feeling that person's going to be in the top team.
That's Adore, right? Adore was on American Idol, right?
Adore, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Adore.
And then we have this other person from the Australian American Idol. So I have a feeling like the American Idol people are obviously performers. They have a following. They already have their own little type of fame going for them. So I imagine they're not going to be out quickly. So things like that make me think that's predictable. Okay, they're going to be around. They're not going to be out of here first. Little things like that.
Mm-hmm. How much are you, Elle and Regina, how much are you loving all of our predictions? Like, first of all, do you find it funny? Do you think that we are astute in any way?
I don't want to reveal anything, but I'm very entertained listening to everything. And I really want to say more. I'm just keeping quiet because I don't want to ruin the experience.
All right.
I know too much.
That's good.
A guy used to love this show when I worked at this wood shop, and he thought this show was so good. And I never sat down and got to watch it. He goes, "You gotta watch this." So I've heard it's really good. So I'm glad we're watching.
I was just thinking when we were talking about like some of the queens coming in who have like previous success, you know, the Idol, like all that. And the notion of like followers, something that has come up in like the Bachelorverse a lot is sort of a before Instagram and after Instagram. And since this season is 2014, it's kind of interesting because I don't think we can judge amount of followers the same way we would like today, because while Instagram existed, it just kind of wasn't the same. And I noticed that in the episode when RuPaul said, "This photo is going to go on Instagram," you know, it was such a big deal.
Oh, right.
And I was like, "What? Wait a minute. Why is it such a big deal? Like, obviously it would go on Instagram, you know, but that's right now." So I think anyone coming in might have like fans, but I don't know if followers were, you know, what they would be today. You know, if you went on a reality show, your amount of followers would probably either, like your amount of followers as a regular person or doing whatever you do would probably influence whether or not you even got on that reality show. Whereas, you know, 10 years ago, that's definitely not the case. You get followers because of the show. So it's kind of an interesting thing that's happened in reality TV that I think we should probably keep in mind a little bit. It's just kind of interesting to me because the word influencer was not around at this time at all. So yeah.
That's really good point. And something that's come up a lot more in the later seasons of the show, because there are people who grew up with the show and became like Instagram queens and would come on to Drag Race with like already like 1 million followers because they'd built their following purely from social media, which isn't the case in these earlier seasons. But you did have queens like specifically Adore and Courtney who had followings because of like their Idol thing, because they already had released music. So they were on like other places like MySpace with a lot of followers. They were on Facebook. So they still had, and like, you know, Twitter, they still had a lot of followers and a huge following already, and were known in some of the places and circles that already existed online.
I think they're super attractive. That helps too. I always say like, I always point that out. At least to me.
So favorite so far? Anyone?
I'm still on.
Sorry,
Dayla.
I was harvesting, so I couldn't respond to that. I think that's another thing, is that I actually just think that this second group are more attractive than the first, and maybe that's like also influencing my feelings about the second.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like. They're pretty, like I said, they're prettier. Definitely the slumber party type of theme that they had at the beginning. Like they're sexier, like they're prettier, and you know what I mean?
Yes,
they're
they are. In general, they are. Yeah.
Milk is definitely just wakes up naturally without, and just sexy, just drag or whatever. Milk's got it going on, and
Milk is more attractive out of drag. Milk is in drag is just more of a very interesting,
confidence, attraction deal going
on.
Yeah,
maybe so. Yeah, maybe there's that certainly the confidence thing. Mostly, I just am into the art, the artistic aspect of what Milk is doing. But I'm not really focused as much on like the sex appeal of Milk. When the sex appeal of Milk, when Milk is out of drag, is she Milk? I can't remember.
I don't know, but that person is just a naturally gorgeous
human being. Yeah. Elle, can you clarify that? Is Milk always on the show?
On the show, the queens are just referred to as their drag names.
As their drag names.
Yeah,
okay.
that's why even when they're out of drag and they're in their like talking head confessionals, they still like would have their drag name that would come up on the screen.
Got it.
So
okay.
yeah,
Got it.
that's how they're still. That's how I personally refer to. That's why I refer to them all by their drag names, and
right.
And that's also, I think I love the love for Milk. And I think it was interesting. A lot of people were talking about, you know, Milk being like attractive out of drag and like not as attractive in drag. But that's totally intentional. Like, because Milk has talked about it. Milk, like,
that is so clearly intentional.
Could paint and be, you know, very attractive in drag as well. But I guess chooses to be more experimental.
Yeah, I get that.
That's what
I think it's just the lips, the lips, like the painting of those lips in that way were just like it was just more interesting than anything else. And I guess that's the thing, is that like is that really like our drag is a part of drag being sexy, or is it more important to be interesting?
Oh, like art, like it's like a runway, like a basic like French runway where everyone's just so artsy fartsy. It's just so cool. And you're like, that.
Yeah.
And it's just
I could have done without the beard, I guess. That was the one thing
I love the beard.
You love the beard. I could have done without the beard.
Milk painted on a big frontal gap in his teeth.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
And I was like, whoa, wow. And then when you saw him out of drag, I'm like, wow, look at that beautiful set of teeth. So it's like, painted that. And I thought, wow, that to me was setting the tone of the whole idea of Milk.
And that's what I was saying with what's her face, the pretty one.
Courtney.
I can't remember.
Courtney.
Yeah.
Courtney.
Like I feel like drag should be more, well, not should be, but is usually, and especially in this competition, is more of a caricature of a personality than just being pretty.
I think it was Bianca that said at the very beginning, like, oh, wow, you're beautiful. You look like a girl, but that's not drag.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, but is that accurate though?
It's just
is that, I mean, that's obviously it's one drag drag contestant to another.
Right.
You know, obviously there's a little bit of like, you know, puffing of feathers and bravado and you know, psyching out your competitor. But I'm curious, like this is a question for our experienced drag race guides. Is that true? Is what Courtney is giving not technically drag?
Oh, it's absolutely drag. But the thing was, with the time that when this season aired, Drag Race was really different than what it is now. And even what we might, you know, how we might interpret drag, even those who are unfamiliar with drag, because there's been a lot of more discussion about like gender identity, playing with like gender expression. And at the time, like a lot of people thought like drag is the grand illusion of a woman. It's not, you know, it wasn't about being just like, ooh, you know, quote unquote pretty. And it wasn't about being like experimental or sort of offbeat, kind of like Milk. It was about being a drag queen. And so it's interesting too, because it's hard to kind of discuss now because of how much that has changed. Because I feel like, you know, you can't really put yourself in that, like, what were you thinking in 2014, you know? Because I feel like a lot of people have changed, if that makes sense. I'm trying to tread carefully with what I say
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Because I
Yeah, you
know
don't wanna
I've watched every season of the show so many times. Just watched Canada's Drag Race before I came here for this. So like I'm very into all of the aspects
that
of the
is a
Drag Race
really-
franchise.
But that's a really interesting point there, which was like, which is that, you know, at the idea that like at this time, somebody like a Bianca, you know, kind of was the quintessential idea of what drag was. And Milk and Courtney, they actually lived at polar opposite extremes of one another, and neither of them really totally defined what drag was then. Milk being sort of kooky, weird, over the top, experimental, and Courtney being the exact opposite, just like generic pretty girl. And you seem to be, without spoiling us, seem to be suggesting that like that is a conversation that is now different, because now we think about it and talk about it differently. Like, and now would Courtney and Milk be equally considered a part of what drag is without even thinking about it?
Yes, I mean, I really think that if you had Courtney and Milk on a 2021 version of Drag Race for the first time, the reception and reaction to them would be so much different than it was at the time. And from what we saw, like the queens and the judges, how they reacted. Because I think we were also supposed to get that from like when Milk was coming down the runway, they, you know, cleverly cut to the judges kind of, you know, face palming and like kind of, you know, stare, you know, like, so we're supposed to take away from that as well as an audience, which wouldn't happen in a current season of show.
Right. And like, and then vice versa, when Courtney came out, they were like, damn, she's got an amazing body. Just like only focusing on her aesthetic, like natural aesthetic appeal, as if that's her only value to the competition.
I think, John, you said something earlier, like you're like, when you brought up the Paris is Burning documentary, and you said like the realness category, Courtney would fit in there. And I think for me, like Elle said, especially for this time, the drag persona, what's supposed to happen, you know, what's supposed to happen or whatever. I wouldn't think of her aesthetic for this competition, because that would be in the realness competition, you know, and in the realness category. Because I even asked in the documentary, like, is, you know, what do you think, Queens, would she pass? Would you think she's a woman? You know, so for competition purposes, I would never have thought that would fit in here.
But so much of Paris is Burning, you know, certainly introduced us to like the grand performers, but it also introduced us to the queens who really did want to find their man, move to the suburbs, and live a quiet life as a classic woman. And so coming out of Paris is Burning, that's my perception of, you know, going into Drag Race. That's my perception of sort of what I should be expecting from Drag Race. And so it's part of why I felt like in that first episode, even though I totally recognized the great talent of, forgetting the name, the one who won the final challenge of yesterday, Dela, right? While I totally recognize the like absolute immense talent of that queen, like it's so acty and so performy that that it just like it's the kind of drag queen that I guess sort of sticks out to me as trying too hard.
Right. But I think that fits into RuPaul's Drag Race. Like this isn't just a regular drag. This is RuPaul's campy, over the top Drag Race.
But do you think do you feel like because it's RuPaul's Drag Race, because that's who RuPaul is, that's the style that he gives, that the contestants really, the best contestants that come on to do RuPaul's Drag Race really should be embracing that. And
I don't think they should, but I think it'll get them further.
it'll get them further. Got it. Okay. Interesting. I'm loving this show. I'm loving this show.
I also want
Ruby,
to
I
mention.
can tell.
You two are just quiet. We're all chit chatting, but that's of course because
It's very hard to.
you
find
know
a
if you start
place to
talking, you're gonna
jump
spoil
just
us.
because you guys are just this, that, the other. It's very entertaining to me. I love listening to this because for years I never had anyone to talk about drag race with other than like my cousin, and even then like he was into it for a time, and then that time sort of dissipated. So while I was still sounding like you guys are right now, he wasn't as into it. So it's cool being on the other side and hearing you guys rave about this. I'm just listening like knowing what happens.
That's cool.
I wanted to mention the Untucked episode from this because I thought it was interesting. See, like I obviously knew Magnolia was going home, so but it was interesting listening to everybody's opinions and what they thought about Magnolia, because in the Untucked episode that goes along with the episode we just watched, Magnolia tells everybody that she doesn't care really about drag. She's not there for the competition or to improve and be a better drag queen. She's purely there to become famous and wants attention.
Well,
And-
that's that. I'm glad I didn't see that. Because
I thought that was interesting because I know a lot of people just kind of like could feel that kind of energy anyway, and we're really not responding very well to like Magnolia's persona. And I thought that was interesting because that was a big turnoff for the queens and a big turnoff for the fans to just be
Big
like,
time.
yeah, I
But
don't
not-
care. I just want to be famous.
But not super surprising now that you say it, because she definitely, there was a feeling of like a little bit of bittersweet when Kelly left, because I kind of liked Kelly. I thought that she was sweet and I thought that she was trying hard. I could tell that she really wanted it. Whereas Magnolia really came across as just a really angry, desperate, I don't know. She came across really I don't know, kind of a little ungrateful. I don't know.
Entitled a little.
Entitled. That was the word. I was like, man, what? Why is my English is going out the window? It's because I have a baby, and you're just doing like baby talk all day long.
Yeah, baby brain.
I have baby brain. No. Yeah, this one was not like at a certain point in the episode it becomes so obvious who's going home.
That lip sync was horrible. Like you could
Horrendous.
just tell it was horrible. Because up until then, I was like, they're gonna keep Magnolia. They need the personality. That's what you need for reality TV. But then that lip sync was just awful.
And Darian is so good, and it's just unfortunate because Magnolia didn't try. And something I've noticed watching some of these lip syncs is that you can have a queen that's good, but if their competitor isn't great, then they almost dial it back a little bit themselves. So, but when you have one queen who's putting 100% in, and you have another queen who really wants to fight to be in the competition, then they're also putting 100% in. And that's when you get like the really killer lip syncs, when they really are lip syncing for your life. But in this case, Magnolia didn't care. I don't think Magnolia like gave up at the very beginning. So the lip sync wasn't going to be very entertaining for us.
Here's my only Darian and Vivacious lip sync against each other.
Oh yeah, Vivacious did a pretty good job
But I think that Darian, it seemed to me like she had all of the little nuances of that song down. She had really rehearsed that. She had the little like tiny quirks. And my only, and I'm not gonna judge too much until I see more. But I think that my only problem with the like lip sync for your life format is that it's cutting so often. Like the camera keeps cutting over and over and over again and shooting them from far, that sometimes I'm having a hard time focusing on any one of them. It feels messy and, you know, and kind of all over the place. And I think that's what I was referring to yesterday when I said, like, I can't really imagine how we're going to get any like killer performances, because usually when we get that on an American Idol or any of those big talent competition shows, the camera stays on them long enough for us to really like get sucked into what they're doing. And here it's just jumping all over the place. And they did stay way more on Darian than they were on Magnolia. That's for sure. But it was still like, you know, just when I'm starting to really like watch Darian and get into it, then I like go over to Magnolia for a second. You know, it kind of breaks the flow for me, at least in these last two. So I'm hoping that starts to change, or that I see an episode that like changes my whole perspective on that. Because as of right now, that's my main thing about those lip syncs for your life. Like just these two that I've seen.
I think
I totally agree.
It's also it's a narrative choice from the production angle, where they kind of want you to know who you're supposed to be rooting for, who's doing well, who's not doing well in a lip sync, which is why, but that's also like where they might try and hide if somebody, you know, they might suddenly cut away from someone if they didn't know the words at a spot, because they're still going to be the winner of the lip sync. You know, it's still very much a reality show that's still pretty heavily produced in that way. So
right,
that's
true. Yeah,
you know, that can be a little difficult to deal with sometimes with some of the lip syncs, and sometimes it's, you know, the production feels really heavy-handed with it. But sometimes when you have like a really good mix and like a really good duo of queens lip syncing, then I feel like it's the production that has an easier job at cutting the lip sync together, and then it kind of flows and makes more sense.
Okay, so you would say so far we haven't really seen that.
No,
we haven't really seen two drag performers that were both like really bringing their A game.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay.
I'd like to see them do like a split screen. I wish they would do that. Like have this, you know, stage in half and then have a split screen so we could see both of them at the same time.
Yes. Oh my God.
Really
yes. That would be the ideal way to do it, because then I would just focus on the one that I'm feeling it for, you know?
Yeah. And you could see, and you could really compare how they're doing, and the camera would be more steady because it's on, you know, focusing on one person.
Oh
but you know, there's storylines they want to tell, and if they did that, they would probably have a harder time justifying keeping who they wanted to keep for storyline purposes.
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's true, but that sucks because I really want,
it does,
because I really want it to be the best person, you know. Like I would hate to think that somebody stuck around. I mean, it is what it is. Like that's reality. Like you have to accept it. They're looking for the best television. They definitely manipulate things. But I want to see if somebody who you know, I want to see the performance, the real performance, you know.
Yeah, I want to watch Magnolia mess up the whole time. That would have been entertaining.
Yeah, I don't think that we actually got to see Magnolia like crash and burn nearly as much as we could have if the camera was on her the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she was even she knew the lines even less than than what we saw.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been actually kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah, I feel like we were cheated by not seeing not seeing Magnolia like just completely fumble, and then Darian was cheated by us not seeing how well
How incredible she was.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple of moments where I was like, ooh, that was she just hit like a little nuance, like her, her lips just like, curled on a specific note. And I was like, oh, that's great. Like I would have loved to have just like gotten to spend time with that performance,
I agree.
That would be cool if they had that. If they had that like on the site where like you could actually watch the lip sync for your life again, but just focused on one of them. That would be a good Hulu extra.
Yeah, I really
For the
wish that existed.
Yeah, for the extra $6 that you pay for no ads.
Can't relate.
To see that walk.
The no ads is so worth that extra $6 though.
Hulu with ads, we've had it for like a good like year, almost 2 years maybe, and we've just had it for this past week, and we're like, oh my goodness.
I don't know how you did it because we've had
because
Hulu for 4
Hulu's
years.
the worst.
It is. We've had it for 4 years, and like our yearly subscription ran out like last week, and I was watching, and an ad popped up, and I was like, "David, what is happening?" Like I could never.
But the worst thing about Hulu is that it's the same ad over and over and over again. You get the same freaking ad every single time.
I'm not buying
At least
diapers.
I got tired.
That's the way that it was for us. I was like, I can't freaking do this anymore. I can't watch this Geico commercial one more time.
Yeah, when I was trying to watch One Tree Hill, I just kept seeing like the same ad over and over and over, and that's what eventually drove me
Most
to,
obnoxious thing in the world.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Hulu had ads because I've never had ads on my Hulu. So when you guys started talking about it, I was utterly confused. Like,
Sorry,
didn't even
Regina.
know
We're just
that.
trying to make you feel bad.
Yes.
It's not gonna work.
Because-
Mom is not in the room.
I also have ads.
Next time, let us know when your mom's in the room, and we'll get the conversation going again.
Got it. Say less.
We need a code word like pineapple or something, so we can all just like jump in.
This has been fun.
Here's what you do, Regina. Just once a month, probably a day or two before her Hulu charges every month, just buy her a coffee or flowers or something.
Yeah, or say, hey mom, can I get $6 to get a coffee? And then you get the $6 and then start to walk out the door and then turn around and be like, you know what, could you put this towards the no ad the no ad Hulu thing instead?
Oh my god, you guys are making me laugh.
You need to do say it like those commercials. Yeah, just say it like those ads where they're raising money for like, animals and stuff. Be like, for the cost of this one coffee, we could have no Hulu ads on our TV. Isn't that worth it, Mom?
You did that scary good, Hunter.
Thank you.
Oh
I
my god,
practiced.
I'm totally showing my mom this recording.
Now, this is great. I'm glad I started watching this with you all because I never would have probably gotten to watch a show or had much interest in watching, but this is really fun. I mean, I so had to hold myself off from binging the other day because I really wanted to. And the only reason I'm not going to binge this weekend is because I want to watch it with you all, and also because season 3 came out, so I have something else to occupy.
I was gonna say you could just pull a Kendra.
Wait,
and
what
just
season
watch
did
the
this come out?
other seasons of Drag
You?
Race.
Yeah.
Hulu,
What is it?
You, the TV show.
Oh,
You.
I don't know you.
What? Oh, it's so good. It's messed up.
Wicked.
All right, let's go around really quickly, and I want to know, as of right now, favorite contestant of all 14 queens. Diana.
I'm going with Dayla.
Dayla. Okay.
Yeah, I just found her so funny. I loved it.
Dayla's a cutie.
Kendra?
That's a good
But
choice.
also best dressed last night. Like absolutely amazing runway look. I was so enamored with it. I loved it so much.
Yeah, Dayla's cool. Dayla's our Kelly Bishop.
Literally 100%.
Right?
In fact,
Did I nail that?
you nailed
Dayla
it.
is Kelly Bishop.
And someone should do drag as Kelly Bishop. I feel like that would be awesome.
Kendra, is it? Can I guess? Is it milk?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like you're like straight milk.
Absolutely.
You're like milk. It does a body good. Pass it
Yep.
on. Mandy.
Darian from tonight's episode, but I can't remember any of their names from the last episode, but there are people I do like from that one as well.
Oh, I posted the
Goddamn.
guide to all of the drag queens for season 6 on Discord. So if you want to head over there,
Ooh.
it's there.
Mine is
Kathy
a
Ann?
toss up between April from last night and Jocelyn from tonight.
And Jocelyn. Interesting. Jocelyn. Wait, who's Jocelyn?
Jocelyn did the
Fox.
Quinceañera.
Yeah.
Oh, Jocelyn. Right. Okay, April and Jocelyn. Yeah, Jocelyn, I completely forgot about her. Jen?
Well, I really like Milk, but I think the other one's going to win. Bianca. I think Bianca has a really natural talent for this whole competition, but Milk is just cool. Like as an artsy side, Milk is cool.
Hunter?
I'm stuck because I feel like Dayla's more like my aesthetic, but Bianca has that talent, like, you know, coming from the costume world and everything. That's gonna go really far, I feel. But I'm stuck between the two of them.
And Charlie, you didn't watch, did you?
No, I did not. Sorry.
You did not. I am going to go with, right now, it's a toss-up right now between April and Darian. Darian, I think I want to win because I want that like underdog to win, but April's probably the queen that I like the most, just in general.
If I had to pick one, I'll say the one that's Kelly Bishop.
Dayla.
Okay.
It's just a little too theatery for me. It's just a little too theater performance. Which I get. That's like a big part of drag. I totally get that, but I just for whatever reason, I'm just not as into it.
I feel like I need to watch the last episode again to refresh myself on some of the other people. Well, we'll see them next week. Never mind.
I know. I'm so scared to just Google it because then I'll get a bunch of spoilers like
Don't
winner.
Google anything.
That's why
I learned
I
that years
posted the picture of the queens, because I originally wanted to link something, but then I said if I link this, it's going to lead to spoilers, and that's what I don't want.
Yeah.
So-
You also have to be really careful on Hulu that you don't look at the actual thumbnail pictures.
Yes.
Of
Oh my
That
episode
is true.
because then
That
you'll
is
see people that are still there.
Right. You will
Okay.
not who's not eliminated because there's in some 5th episode. You're like, that's not who I need to see. Right. So I have to be careful of that as well.
And even just watching this now that it's all in your search history or your watch history, you're gonna get things popping up all the time too.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.